Beware, I live.
Welcome to the new River City Gamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the River City Gamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the River City Gamers Podcast.
Listen to River City Gamers Podcast. I'm the big master, the big cast, cause SCXCR super.
But I'm real super duper.
I'm super duper ShadowSnake here. I'm sneaking around here.
Man, I don't even Zeromaster.
Man, you can't even play. Yeah, I'm the man.
Big brains and big teams.
Yay.
Man, I'm gonna make a big news mess.
Gaming news! So real.
Well, let's start off gaming news by just saying a quick congratulations to Summer Games Done Quick 2018, which, as of this recording, ended technically early this morning. And they raised $2,122,229 just in straight-up donations for Doctors Without Borders.
Congratulations, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Great accomplishment.
That is the highest they've made in SGDQ, right?
Yes, it is. It's the first. I believe it's the first time they've broken 2 million for Summer Games Done Quick.
Have they broken 2 million for awesome games?
Oh yes.
Okay, that is really cool. Still, just to say, watching. Oh my god, the alleged $5 train. They apparently said, okay, when we hit 6 hours and 15 minutes in the run, I don't know the exact things, but I guess like everyone in Twitch chat donate $5, and it wouldn't stop. It just kept going up. People were freaking out. It was great.
Now, were there any runs you'd recommend people go back and watch? I missed a fair portion of it, but I did see PJ breaking one of the Bionic Commando games.
You mean Bionic Commando?
Mm-hmm. He figured out how to do that glitch without an elevator.
I caught a bit of that run. I do recommend that. There's a couple of ones I wanted to see but missed due to work, although I technically caught it via audio. I was really curious about what the heck Zelda Bingo was.
Yeah, what? Zelda Bingo?
I believe that was a thing where they were doing a run of Ocarina of Time, and they were playing bingo according to all the different speedrunning tricks he was doing.
Oh, so what if you did this trick? You fill in your bingo sheet.
If you're a stickler for, were there any world records at this event? There was one that I know of for, I think it was Spider-Man Web of Fire. It was a 32X game.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of other runs that I'd recommend. I mean, it was cool, even though it was super long in the finale, and I think the hype of the finale helped it, but Final Fantasy VI.
I'd recommend Hob, but I'm a half-coordinated fan, so I'm a little biased.
Look at the schedule, and if you see a game you're interested in, or a run you're interested in, go ahead, because it's GDQ has actually been pretty on point uploading the runs, because they were uploading the stuff to YouTube during GDQ. Whereas previous years, it's been some time before they got it all. So I think they were more on point this year.
Oh, Streets of Rage 2 had a good run, too.
Oh, nice. It's one of my favorite Genesis
Awesome.
games.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that.
There were a decent amount of Nintendo games played there. In fact, wasn't Mario Odyssey something that they played later in the marathon?
Yeah, that ended up becoming a donation incentive. That was not on the schedule, but that was right after... No, it was, better explanation. It was right before Final Fantasy VI. It was just an 8% run.
There were some crazy skips he was doing in that. But Nintendo's been working specifically to improve the curation for their online storefront. Particularly when it comes to independent games that maybe only have a digital presence. So they're starting to work that into their algorithms for what gets displayed. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, Steam. They recently, let's see, where was this? It was a presentation at White Knight, and they were talking about how many games go on the storefront every week through Steam Direct. 180
180 games a week?
per week. That's a little over 1 game per hour.
Damn.
That's a lot of fucking games.
They also made a bunch of comments during this about how Steam is a different kind of opportunity and that they are not, quote, the taste police.
And they don't do quality control or something like that?
It's not about having bad games on your storefront. That is going to happen regardless of what curation method you use. It's about having games on your storefront that abuse systems you put in place. Like, particularly, your achievement system or your card system.
Like, how does that go into play? Because usually that's just to me, achievements and cards are just optional things that give players, I guess, an incentive to want to play the game extra, but I wasn't really the type to really care about those, but...
Well, cards in particular, developers get a kickback on every card transaction that happens, so what they'll do is, they'll make some ridiculously cheap game, and just have a shit ton of cards attached to it. So people just get the game, leave it on in the background, don't even play it, and then just farm the cards off of it.
Fuck.
You see this too with achievement farming for people who want to get their Steam account to a higher level. I've played a couple of these for Fearless, where every second or 5 seconds you have the game open, an achievement unlocks.
What was that one game that just kept popping achievements just by walking or everything? I forgot. That was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
I can't remember. I've played a couple of games like that now.
Oh my god. They were using that exploitation, that achievement exploitation in that, obviously. Because I remember I was on one of your Fearless streams, and I was just like, why are you getting achievements for this easily?
Well, achievement farming is a thing. Well, let's get away from Steam, but we're going to stick with computers. Particularly talking about hardware, namely Elgato hardware.
Isn't that the name of a Bloody War character, Gato?
Elgato, Spanish for the Gato.
Did your card break again?
No, this has to do with Elgato Gaming. Specifically, they've been acquired by Corsair. We don't know exactly how much for, but they've been acquired by Corsair, who actually made the case that I'm using for my PC right now.
Yeah, Corsair's a good company. Let's hope they improve it.
Yeah, because while I've used Elgato a lot for videos and streaming and all that, not exactly the best program thing, or the best in terms of interface. Also, a lot of it is, if you go to their online resources, a lot of it's not translated properly. Oh, it's that time of the podcast.
What?
It's time for Lawsuit Central.
Oh shit, is this a new segment?
It might as well be with how often these are happening.
Okay.
First of all, PUBG Corp dropped their lawsuit against Epic Games.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, it was silly to begin with, but they sent a letter of withdrawal to Epic Games' attorneys.
Yeah, PUBG's stupid.
I never cared for PUBG. I mean, if I had to choose one of the two, I'd rather go for Fortnite because Epic Games knows how to make a good game.
Then again, Epic sued a little kid. And they're not really supporting the franchise I care about, Unreal Tournament, all because of Fortnite. So I'm a little salty personally.
I
But
can see that too, because
The good news, Unreal, is you are not alone in your salt. Because Bethesda is salty about Warner Brothers.
for what?
oh, this is the best. You're gonna love this one. I know exactly what it is.
So, Warner Brothers has a new game out called Westworld. Bethesda is suing them because it is, according to them, way too similar to Fallout Shelter. And they're kind of made by the same people. Behavior Interactive is the name of it. And they're alleging that, we think you've been taking specific animations and specific code from our games. And of course, Warner Brothers is denying this, and we're still seeing how exactly this plays out.
Didn't Bethesda identify that it was the same code because it had the same exact bugs as well.
Yeah, they mentioned some of these bugs were the same ones that showed up in Fallout Shelter at some point.
That is hilarious. Out of all the things Bethesda could find that would match for like a lawsuit, it had to be the bugs. That you can't make this shit up.
Hey, your game is similar to us because it's just as buggy as our game.
Now what needs to happen is you start up Westworld, and then you get one of these bugs, and this old man starts telling you a tale, and the tale is Skyrim. Warner Brothers, you've done it again.
Oh my god.
But you know what? At least Westworld and Fallout Shelter, you can play those games. If you're on a Mac OS system, you can't play Metal Gear Rising anymore.
On a Mac OS system?
Yeah, the company that ported it to Mac OS, Transgaming, shut down, and with them went their servers, and you have to be online for this version.
Oh. Metal Gear Rising's a single player game.
I'm sure there's probably a mod somebody's made so they can turn that off. I wouldn't be surprised. Xcode's not that complicated.
I wouldn't be either, but it's hilarious that you have to pirate the game that you bought legally to be able to play it at all.
That is fucking sobering.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good either way you look at it, but like, I don't know, man.
Whatever. I have it on my Steam library. I'll just play it on the operating system.
I just feel bad because like they've been making a lot of like great advancements towards making gaming like work better on Mac, and then you've got bullshit like this where the company that did the port is gone, so their servers are shut down. And I assume Konami's not going to do anything about it.
Oh, they're not going to do anything.
Oh yeah, why would they? We don't want to make good games. We just want to keep continuing making pachinko machines.
Except for that Silent Hill thing they're going to be announcing, apparently.
Well, actually, there's another bit of Konami news, which is they're adding a bunch of new characters to Super Bomberman R. Particularly a bunch of Metal Gear Solid characters.
Yeah, I saw about that.
Including Solid Snake and Naked Snake, voiced by David Hayter. They made sure to point that out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it until I started looking into it, just the weird dichotomy between David Hayter and the later Metal Gear Solid games. Like, as far as why they went with the casting decisions they did.
Wasn't that Hideo Kojima's direction at fault for not casting David Hayter for Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah, and the reasons he gave did not make any sense.
I mean, granted, it can't. I mean, Snake's new voice was a little bit off-putting at first, but it kind of grew on to me when I played it. Granted, I still to this day feel that the game is very underwhelming. But I never understood why they couldn't just keep David Hayter as the voice actor for Metal Gear Solid 5. I mean, I used to assume there were just some creative differences, like they couldn't, see eye to eye or something. I just assumed that was just the case.
The popular theory is that they were doing stunt casting, so that they could say, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, starring Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
David Hayter actually was thinking he was going to be in Metal Gear Solid 5 when he realized it was in development, and then they just said, no, we're not bringing you back.
That's very disheartening.
Yeah, and he kind of took that personally. In case his laundry list of passive-aggressive tweets about it is any indication.
Mm-hmm. Something tells me he really, really loved doing the role, and he felt very passionate about it, and just to say that he was no longer needed to redo that role just must have been very, very hard.
It's just kind of shitty, because it's like because they're doing that whole Duke Nukem movie, right? And what if after that, for all future games, they decide to replace John St. John with whoever was in the movie? That would just be really shitty, for example. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but...
I forgot that Duke Nukem movie was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, John St. John won't let me forget about it.
Oh, yeah, he's probably typing up a storm about that.
He's pretty pissed.
Actually, who did they say is taking the role?
John Cena, I thought?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's John Cena. John Cena's going to be Duke Nukem.
From a body type standpoint, I can see it, but from an acting standpoint, Did we remember
It's gotta be better than the Marine.
setting the bar low, huh?
Yeah, like giving like John Cena a, I'll just say the word stupid role like Duke Nukem. Because Duke Nukem can be pretty fucking stupid. It's not as bad as I would think. But it'd be cool if like they had John Cena, but they dubbed him with John. It'd probably like seem weird because you'd have to like do it well, but that'd be sort of cool. But again, there's no way it can't be like the Marine where it's just not good.
You can't see me.
Like there's like you watched the Marine and it had no charm, right?
No.
Okay, so we're already in a better state.
To be fair, I heard John Cena's more recent movie roles have actually been a lot better since then.
We're not counting the Kids' Choice Awards as movies.
What worries me is Duke Nukem's very much the throwback badass action star, and Cena has never struck me as that in any of the roles that he's played, including the one where he was supposed to be an action star.
Remember 12 Rounds?
Yeah, he doesn't really have that kind of feel to him that, say, The Rock does.
At least The Rock has charisma in action movies.
Yeah, and how The Rock dissed the Doom movie and the Doom account was like, Dwayne.
And that will bring gaming news to a close, as we now go into recently played. What have you guys been playing recently? Zero, why don't you go first?
Well, I finished Castlevania 4 on stream finally. And I beat Shaq Fu as well. And I was rather surprised at how good Shaq Fu was. I mean, it's not amazing. It has problems, but it was a lot better than I expected. Also, considering I ran into a glitch a couple of times, I'm still pretty satisfied with how it came out.
Wait, which glitch?
One of the bosses froze. The one who's supposed to be, I guess, like Paris Hilton or something like that.
Oh, Diamond?
Yeah, she glitched on me twice. And I had to... Thank God the game in the pause menu has a restart from last checkpoint option, because otherwise I'd be fucked.
Dude, that boss soft locked on me.
Yeah, that one needs to be patched. But, you know, with the campaign updates taking forever, you know, the DLC's publicly available and we still don't have it. So it's probably not going to get fixed for a while.
Is it? I tried looking on storefronts for it and it wasn't showing up.
It's available immediately if you pick up a physical copy, but it's not available digitally yet.
Funny thing, I have a physical copy and tried claiming the code for it. The code gave an error, so I tried it again, and it said, this code is already claimed.
Oh, you got screwed.
Okay, this shit needs to be fixed. And I think, let's see, I recently did Megaman challenges in Legacy Collection. And, you know, there's some pretty interesting ones. I'm not usually a big challenges guy, but they're pretty fun. There are some that I just outright will not do, like the Mega Man 1 Mega Mix one that starts with Gutsman Stage. No, thank you. Not gonna bother with that one. But otherwise, that's basically what I've been playing. I've been outside of doing other things, like I've been testing some emulation stuff for 3DS because I have plans, but I won't get further than that. But that's it for me.
Alright, I'll go next. So, I did start playing a Pokemon game recently, but I'm not that far in it, so I'm not going to comment on it yet. Other than that, I did play the beta backer demo that was released recently for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And from a gameplay perspective, I really like it. You have a ton of weapons you can go with, so it suits a bunch of different playstyles. They have like daggers, short swords, long swords, claymores, spears, axes, guns, whips. Just pretty much anything you could want to play it with, it's in there. In terms of like platforming mechanics, it works great. Jumping, a little floaty at first, but I got used to it very easily. Sliding mechanics, good. I like the music, I like the environments. The main issues I had with it were from a presentation standpoint, because usually when you attack, Miriam makes some kind of noise. And it just happens way too much and it gets pretty annoying. It actually reminded me of Bloody Roar Primal Fury, and this was a couple other fighting games around the time that did it too, but it got to the point where there were so many voice cues that they were cutting off each other. So they got to really scale back how often Miriam makes some kind of noise when she attacks. Other than that, I also noticed that in the dialogue sequences that happen, they bring the models close to the screen and they actually animate the mouth movements for them. Well, they did that for everyone else. For Miriam, I don't know what is going on with her mouth. Half the time her mouth is just hanging open and twitching, so she looks more like a Muppet than anything else.
I have a question about the cutscene presentation. From what we experienced, would it have been better just to do still images, or just would you be fine with 3D models if their mouths didn't move?
This is more just my personal opinion, but I would have gone with, say, something like what was it? Like the later Fire Emblem games did, where you had the 2D still images, but they would change a little bit if they were trying to show specific emotion or reaction to something that was said.
I like that.
Or you could do like what Bravely Default does with its like in-game conversation trees separate from the action, which is you do have the 3D models, but they don't like blow them up so they're taking up a huge portion of the screen, and you simplify the animation of them so they don't actually mouth along to what they're saying, but they do have the specific reactions to everything people say. Also, I don't like, and this is another personal thing, I don't like when you have these 3D models for characters and dialogue sequences, and they're constantly doing like the fighting game stance, where it's almost like they're heavy breathing or constantly shrugging their shoulders as they're talking. It just looks so awkward.
I know what you mean with certain games. You got like awkwardly pose for a fighting game and then we're not a fighting game.
I do like that the game rewards you for trying to explore areas, because there were a couple points where I realized you can like break through walls and find extra items or extra areas you wouldn't get to otherwise. I did encounter a glitch, which was I was told that it happens when you collect a shard and you're in midair. That is not the case. I think it has something to do with being in air and attacking as you get the shard. Because she gets the shard, drops to the ground, and then is stuck in the falling animation. And the only way to get out of it is to use the backdash button. But otherwise you can't move. And something I did appreciate is that, for reference, the beta goes from the beginning of the game up until you meet Zangetsu and fight him the first time. Zangetsu, by the way, voiced by David Hayter. I don't like when you have a game like this and you gotta grind a lot to be able to progress. I did basically no grinding in this and was still able to beat Zangetsu. Zangetsu was a tough fight, but once you catch on to his tendencies and the cues for his attacks, you can get through him just fine without having to grind a bunch of levels or grind to buy the best equipment.
This definitely seems like Egavania. With like everything you said, it's just like how exploration, breakable walls, boss fights that can telegraph moves and stuff. It just seems like it's on the right track.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time with Bloodstained, and I'm looking forward more now to the eventual finished product for it.
I think what it really needs, like all the issues you said, it just needs like more TLC. Because like it seems like the mechanics are sound. It's just like everything else needs some touching up.
Oh, that's one other thing they gotta fix. The controls. Not to say that the in-game controls were bad, but when I started this up, I was initially planning on just playing it with my keyboard. And I quickly realized most of the keyboard controls had no mapping to them. Like, just for example, down arrow was mapped and up arrow wasn't.
By the way, that was like, but it was like WASD, that was mapped. But when I was trying the demo and stuff, like, okay, WASD worked, but I'm like, what about everything? I hit every single key on the keyboard and nothing would confirm outside of space or go back, for example.
Apparently space and K were the only other ones that were mapped on those main keys.
I hit K and nothing happened.
It's supposed to be the menu button.
Oh my god. And no, this was me going in the options. I couldn't even like navigate it. Like, I was gonna plug in my Xbox One controller. I had to like update drivers for it, which is weird because like I was able to use the controller no problem on other games like Turok 2. I was able to go in and it just instantly worked. But here, no.
Well, that's it for me, so why don't you talk about games you played that aren't on the PC?
Alright, I guess so. I have a couple. I'm gonna exclude some because I can't remember what I talked about last time. But I decided I'm just gonna call this segment the Let's Blame CJ for both of these games segment. I say that because he's both directly and indirectly responsible for me playing both of these titles. I'll just say he's indirectly responsible for Far Cry 5 because he kind of like said like I could like rent the game because he has the game and we're like playing co-op, so that's what we're doing. This game is so fucking dumb. It's hilarious. Just playing in co-op, like all of our experiences have been like falling apart in a good way. So basically, Far Cry 5 is like it takes place in this like county. I can't remember the name of the actual county. It's fictional, but it takes place in the real US place or something. But the place is fictional. I don't remember. There's some weird cultists and shit. They're evil, but the game's narrative is trying to like not do that. I don't know. I'm very lost with the narrative right now. Because like apparently there's supposed to be some sort of message with the game, but at the same time there isn't. I don't know. I've not beaten the game yet. I'm probably like less than halfway at this point. Well, almost halfway at this point, I feel. Because anytime I've gone on, I've wanted to play with CJ, for example. But the co-op is silly and fun because, okay, I gotta explain that. There was just one mission we were doing, and it's like, all right, we're just going through a bunch of like shooting and stuff, and then we leave the place by helicopter. So me being an asshole, we both get in the helicopter, and the AI pilot's driving. I shoot the helicopter guy in the head, and he dies. But we crash the helicopter. We don't fail the mission. And we can't get out. So we're just stuck in the helicopter with a dead pilot. CJ's asking what the fuck happened, and I'm like slowly laughing to myself as I told him, like, oh, I just shot the pilot in the head. And we were just stuck there with mortars shooting on us and we couldn't die. So good. I could go on. It's just like anytime I play co-op in an open world game like this, I just tend to put the fuck meter to 0. So I just like sometimes just shoot important people in the head, like AI companions or something, or people that tell story, and just like, okay, we just lose our weapons, so I'm just punching this guy, or CJ punches the guys I'm talking to him, and I'm like, what'd you do? Because, oh man, me talking about this game is kind of a mess because I haven't even talked about how the game works. I'll just say right now, it's an Ubisoft open world game. There's no towers to climb. In fact, the game kind of jokes about that. You climb this one thing and activate it, and the game's and then one of the characters is like, "Don't worry, this is the only time you have to do that." So they know. Progression in this game is actually kind of open-ended. After like the very beginning tutorial, you can go to any of the 3 regions you want and do it in whatever order. And then like each region has their like own cultist leader with their own like story stuff and whatever. What you do in each region, you have to like build up resistance points to kind of liberate it. So you do that by doing story missions, side missions in that region, or just like taking places out. And like each segment, like occasionally the game will just decide to take away your fun and force you into a story segment. Like in one of them, it's like, oh, you've been marked. Uh-oh. So enemies will endlessly come after you, and if they keep shooting you, you pretty much get drugged and you're forced to go to the story. And in this other one, it's like, you've been blessed. It's the same thing. So you could be doing like a lot of like fun, silly stuff, but if you make enough progress, the game is going to just take that away from you. And that is kind of weird. Wasn't a fan of that, because it's like, oh, I'm being hunted. Well, I'll just put the controller down and have it do it, because clearly you can't really do anything against it. But this co-op has been fun with CJ. We've just been chuckling a lot. It's very nice. I just don't know how to feel about the game. It seems like the game's at least good. At the same time, I've kind of done this stuff before. I mean, it's been a while since I played Far Cry 4, for example, but it feels like I'm going through the motions again, which is strange considering how long it's been since I played that one. But I am having fun with it. I have not beaten the game yet. And this is probably on me because of the whole co-op shenanigans. Again, I have not been paying attention to the story. So it's just kind of hard for me to really catch up and truly understand what the hell the game really is about. On the flip side, here a game that I completely understood from a plot point, and I'll say this one is what CJ was directly responsible for, because he said the words, "Wow, this game is on sale for $5." And it was one I've wanted to go on sale or go for free on PlayStation Plus. That is Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Also, it wasn't $5; it was $7, and I'm just like, fine. Oh, it wasn't the $5 you said. And CJ thought it was $5 because Canadian prices and stuff. So technically, when he got it, it was a better deal. I've never played a Devil May Cry game before outside of a couple of minutes of one. When I got the 5th anniversary edition of Devil May Cry, which has like the first 3 games on PS2. I played Devil May Cry 1 a little bit and then kind of stopped. And then I never went back to any of the other ones. But this one I actually beat all the way through. I have some complaints. This may sound petty, but there's some things I genuinely did not like in this game. There's a lot of fixed camera angles that aren't great. I don't have a problem with fixed camera in games. It's just there were some spots where it's just not great at all. And especially with some like platforming, there was one segment where I'm trying to get this this blue orb fragment, which is basically like a piece of heart. It would extend your HP if you get like 4 pieces. This one segment took me nearly like 10 to 20 minutes to do, and I got so mad because the camera and everything was not clear with how you're supposed to reach it, because you're supposed to like grapple with Nero's arm, and you're grappling up all these balls, and getting up to where you're supposed to go to proceed isn't bad, but this last spot, oh my god, I got so frustrated. It just makes me realize, like, yeah, this is Devil May Cry, all right, with one of the worst platforming in the biz. It's clear that the game is not designed for this stuff, and I don't know why they ever thought 4 games in a row that this was good stuff to put in. It just does not feel good. It's mainly because you have like next to 0 air control jumping. I can't even say it's stiff. It's not like Castlevania stiff where you're like committed. It's bizarre. It feels like you don't get any distance when you jump, really, and it does not feel great. That being said, once I've kind of got a hang of it, I still don't have a hang of the game. I mean, I had a hang enough to like get through the game with decent enough rankings. I got at least S and A rankings most of the time, with at least some Bs and like 1 C. It's just like all ranking system. And this was on Devil Hunter difficulty, which is the highest you can go unless you pay extra money to unlock all the unlockables, which I'm not doing. I'd rather unlock my unlockables instead of pay more money just to fast forward to getting other modes, you know? Once I got a hang of it, the combat was nice. Oh boy, there's a lot to it, because in this game, excluding the extra characters they added with Special Edition, which I have not played with yet, outside of like 1 mission, but in the main game you have Nero and Dante. You start the game as Nero, and then you eventually get to play as Dante. But Nero was pretty easy to learn, and I think that's intentional. And he's a lot of fun to play as once you got the hang of him. And then once you get to Dante, it's like way more complex, and it's just relearning another character. And initially, I was not happy with playing as Dante because like they threw so much at you, and you just have to relearn how he plays because a lot of his moves are not like Nero's at all, which is cool and is not a detriment, but you're just kind of thrown into it. So a new player who started with 4, like me, it's like I had enough time to get used to Nero, and that's great. And then I'm like, I have to relearn everything. And now the game's like has more tough enemies, like during like Dante and stuff. So it's just But what is great about Dante is how complex he is. He has like 4 different like styles you can switch with the D-pad, which is something Nero cannot do. And it changes his move set, which style you have, and that really opens up what you can do with combos and stuff. And yeah, I'm not good, but again, once I did get a hang of Dante, which was a rougher time, I see the systems and I see how fun it is. This game has a very, very, very high skill ceiling, especially with him. Even Nero has like a high skill ceiling, but Dante's is way higher because of how much stuff you can do with him. But yeah, the game is fun. It has good boss fights as well, I'd say. And also the game is kind of funny, and I'm glad that it's funny too. There's some serious spots, but the dumb one-liners and stuff are great. And Dante's cocky attitude when you play as him it's great. It's so charming. And I'm confident that with Devil May Cry 5 coming out, which, believe it or not, 5 is the reason I started getting interested again. One last problem with this game, and this was a complaint with the original release, it's the structure. You go through the game as Nero, and then you do the thing, and then you switch to Dante. Here's the thing. With Dante, you play the game you just played, but backwards. So you're going through the same exact levels, and you're also fighting most of the same bosses, but you're playing the game in reverse. So a lot of people said this was basically half a game, and I do see it, because traversing these areas again was not great, especially like fighting the same bosses again, but they were still fun to fight regardless of character. But yeah, it seemed like there were some cut corners with this game at the time that the special edition did not fix. I definitely enjoyed it. I had my problems with it that I'm hoping Devil May Cry 5 in general knocks out of the park, but we'll have to see early next year. Yeah, if you haven't played Devil May Cry 4, or in general, I'd say 4 is a good starting point. You don't really need the plot from the other games to understand stuff. It feels relatively standalone. People still say like 3 is the best one currently, but I'd say 4 is a nice start.
And I believe that leaves Shadow.
So, where do I even begin? I'm not gonna. All right, I'll just say I played Devil May Cry 4, so I'm not gonna go too much deep to it. It's a memorable game that I liked and everything. I mean, Unreal said it all. So I'll move on to other games. I played a lot of fighting games, so I'm not going to go too deep into them. Another fighting game that I played and I got recently is called Fighting EX Layer. Has anybody in this room heard about that?
The name, I think, but that's it.
It's the
Sorry,
game.
what was it again?
Fighting EX Layer. It's the game by Eureka. It features characters from the Street Fighter EX.
Was that the one announced on April Fool's and people had to be convinced it wasn't fake?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I definitely know about that one then.
Okay, so I bought it out of pure support for the game, even though I knew the game's kind of a bit lackluster single-player shortcomings. But despite all of that, the gameplay is very fluid and very, very well done. it just has the bare minimum of features, but it also has a great attention to detail to the characters and everything, and they all control very, very well, and it just plays very well. And plus, the online actually worked at day one. I mean, how many times can you say a fighting game or any major game like works well day one online? Because usually you're bound to come across problems, but they actually did a good job with the online day one, surprisingly. So it's kind of been meant to be just played mainly for online matches and everything. So I will respect that, because I take it they don't have really the budget to think of like putting an elaborate story and whatnot. But if they get enough support for it, they'll probably add more characters or more modes and everything. And maybe along the line, if you're interested, maybe a story mode. But to me, I just think that I want the game to focus on on its stronger areas for now. And for that, I can't say it's a bad package. In short, Fighting the X-Layer, it's a fun game. If you're up for just a simple online fighter, it's on the PSN. Go get it. I mean, just support it. Be good. They deserve it. I got 2 other games, and I'll try to be quick about this one. Should I go with with the RPG, or possibly my worst mistake of 2018?
Worst mistake.
My worst mistake is New Gundam Breaker. Oh my god. I'm not sure if any of you played the Gundam Breaker games.
No.
Those games were fantastic in Japan. You can customize mechs. It's basically Armored Core with Gundam. And it had and the flow felt like, say, like a traditional third-person shooter action gameplay. With New Gundam Breaker, oh my god, how did they manage to fuck this game up is beyond me. They basically did not take what worked in Gundam Breaker and just basically screwed it all up. I heard that it was done by a different developer. I mean, I can tell you for a fact it was done in a different engine and everything. The problem is that the mechanics just don't flat out work, and getting custom parts for your mech has become even more tedious as it is. Because with the previous Gundam Breaker games, all you had to do was just collect parts, just by walking over them, and you can collect as many as you want. Whereas in Gundam Breaker, you can only collect like one head, one body, one pair of arms, one pair of legs, and I don't know, some weapons and whatnot. And you have to transport them into a loot box or whatever. That way you can just try to keep farming, and it becomes really tedious because you're going to end up playing missions, which, by the way, most missions are essentially just arena type fighters, whereas most missions you just shoot and grab and grow, Like, it just felt that flow, and it worked for Gundam Breaker, whereas this, it just becomes a tedious like material hunting thing. Oh my god. But not to mention, the game suffers from 5 to 20 second temporary freezes. So when the game froze on me, I thought I was gonna have to turn the game off or reset my system. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that, and I was able to complete the mission. The frame rate is just abysmal. Everything. I'm just like, this could not get any worse. Oh yeah, I could, because the loading cutscene that loads your custom Gundam mech even freezes it. Like, it doesn't perform very right. When a game from 2016 can handle that type of cutscene very well, then you screwed up. Oh yeah, and another thing, if you look at the Amazon reviews of this game, they rated the game like 1.5 star, which you could tell that a lot of people hate it. Even Japan hates this game. I'm just gonna say this: don't buy New Gundam Breaker, and just get Gundam Breaker 3 Break Edition instead. Everyone will tell you that.
I'm glad you said something, because I almost picked it up a little while ago.
Oh god, thank god I said something. Like, just get Gundam Breaker 3. Just don't avoid New Gundam Breaker like the plague. Fuck this game.
And with that, we head into viewer questions. And these are coming from Urnst Tokes, who was apparently making up for lost time because YouTube didn't tell him we were uploading podcasts.
Oh my god, thanks YouTube!
Yeah, YouTube's been having more problems. It seems like every time they make a change, it breaks something. So here's a good suggestion, YouTube. Stop changing the code.
Like, here's a good change, right? Let's for 0.3 or 3.3% of viewers or something, let's just change their thumbnails.
Or how about the fact that they're giving random YouTubers the ability to use the community tab? Something that'd be great for so many of us, but yet my friend Jordan has been dying for that feature so that he can tell people when his videos are up. But instead, people with 700 subscribers get the feature, not him. I don't have it either. It's stupid. I don't know why they're rolling these features out so oddly. Just stop trying to fix things. Just stop touching the code.
If it ain't broke, don't fix, YouTube.
Every time they do an update, they break something that was working just fine. Just stop it. Just stop touching the code. Okay, I'm done.
Also, make sure you click the bell that doesn't work either to make sure you know when this podcast goes up.
So the actual questions. See, I'm going to do these in reverse order. The first one is, what do you consider to be the most disappointing E3 title to be shown off throughout the entire conference? You know what my answer is.
Is there any question of what the answer to this is?
Would you say disappointing or awful? They can be the same, but
I'd say both.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, I just consider the one you guys are obviously going to pick. I'm going to consider that trash, not really disappointing, because I'm trying to think of something that actually felt like a letdown, and I can't remember everything at E3 off the top of my head. And they had to, did he say it had to be shown? Like, it had to actually exist?
Shown off throughout the entire E3.
Okay.
I'm going to say purely for the amount of time that was dedicated to it, I was really underwhelmed by Anthem.
Oh, yeah. That might actually be... I might actually agree with you on that one.
For the first half of that, I was getting serious Mass Effect Andromeda flashbacks, because when they tried showing that one off, they showed no gameplay, and they just showed a bunch of concept art and a couple seconds of animation. That was the first half of Anthem.
At least Anthem showed more gameplay prior to release than Andromeda, it seems like. At least at E3s.
Yeah, they did show some gameplay. Granted, I was really underwhelmed by it still, but they showed gameplay, so they have that.
Do I even have to say it? We all know what it is.
It's suggest and take over rivals.
What a fucking waste of time. And the fact that they tried to have some, like, esports players come up and play it, it's just like, what esports? You tap and win!
No, there's strategy.
God.
Do you use your finger or the pencil?
Or you can
Or
use the banana.
I let them use a finger, because it not hurt so much.
No, the finger hurt too much.
I just...
You take the pencil, you jam it into your phone, and then you see what happens. Oh, the phone broke. Fuck this game.
I think I'm getting more upset than Blondie, the actual Command and Conquer fan, is.
Yeah, let's rewind back to when you were watching E3 with us. You were like, give it a chance, and then you just slowly died.
Because, like, there are good mobile games. Like,
yeah, and we were telling you this is not one of them.
Despite what you guys think, Elder Scrolls Blades looks like it's going to be a full game. I think it's going to be a good game.
I don't know if you watched our E3 podcast. I think we came out of that a little more like optimistic on it.
I did, but I remember, like, anytime something mobile was announced, I just heard like a wave of groans. And it's like, come on, guys! It's like you all play Pokemon Go.
I don't.
I barely touch it anymore.
I've been playing it more recently, actually, since the new events and since Pokemon Let's Go is coming out. But I mean, this is like the thing. I just want to say one thing that CJ said in the podcast that we did for Hunter Base on this is that, like, and maybe he said this during the RCG one. I can't remember that. Like, everybody's like, oh, like the entire time EA was like, oh yeah, you know, no loot boxes, no microtransactions, and then the mobile game shows up and there's fucking microtransactions. It's like they can get away with it because it's a mobile game.
Yeah, he did mention that.
Yeah, it's
okay. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And that Final Fantasy game, I'm not going to get into it, but that's basically like just like what a way to like waste a franchise that's been dormant for so long by making a mobile game that literally has nothing to do with the other games.
How to kill a franchise? Just make a mobile game as its next game.
Oh man, I can't wait to see the friggin' Command & Conquer Rivals tournament.
live on stage at
I can't
E3
wait to see
again.
people
Because apparently it's an esport game, which
can't
makes
wait
no
to see-
sense because it's tap to win.
Tap to win tournament. Who can tap?
I mean,
to win
the
that?
rhythm games, the fucking Love Live rhythm game that CJ plays has a higher chance of being a competitive mobile game than fucking Command and Conquer Rivals. It's okay. I'm done. Let's move on.
All right, next question. If this hasn't already been asked before, what's the craziest or just most memorable thing you've seen at a convention?
At a convention, Duke Nukem on a unicycle.
Yeah, I forgot about that until now, thanks.
This is hard to answer.
Yeah, this
There's
is
so many.
actually really hard. That was, I want to say a couple of moments.
Yeah, there are some key moments, because I've been going to conventions since, like, 2007. So there is a lot for me to try and filter through. I can just say one right off the bat, though. It was 2008. I was still, like, just starting to go to conventions on a regular basis. And I went to this convention called A&G. And I went there dressed as Brad Vickers, just because I saw nobody ever cosplay as him. And keep in mind, as I'm doing this, I have my glasses off, and I didn't have contacts yet. So I'm just walking down the hall, all of a sudden I hear, "Brad, you son of a bitch!" And I get bum rushed by these blurs of people, and it's not until they're like 5 feet away from me I realize it's a big-ass Resident Evil cosplay group. And they're all bum rushing me at the same time.
That must have been horrifying. You just like, all right, and then just like an inch away from you. Ah!
But long story short, I'm still friends with some of those people today.
Yay.
I don't have any really good ones. The most is like meeting people. Like the year the Power Rangers were at Anime North
Oh yeah.
was fucking awesome. Like
That
getting
was
to meet the
great.
Dino Thunder Rangers, because Dino Thunder is my favorite season. And
Well, we should elaborate 2 of the
Yeah.
5. But yeah,
yeah, well, not all of them. Like Connor wasn't there, but
and Kira wasn't there either.
yeah, they weren't there. But like getting to meet the Blue and White Rangers was really cool.
Those were the first Power Ranger. No wait, those weren't the first Power Rangers I met. I believe it was either those 2 were the first Power Rangers I met, or Walter Jones.
Also, just getting to meet and hang with John St. John.
Oh yeah.
He's a really cool dude. Like the one year we went to ConnectiCon, it was my birthday, and we got some really. I still have the photos of like him with the fucking guns, Burger King fucking drums.
Yeah, that was the year of the Bacon Sundae, and you said happy birthday to me a week ago. I remember that.
Wasn't the year where one of our friends like knocked a bunch of chairs at a Burger King?
Oh yeah. That was on video too. It was just like they were just gonna film something, and at the very start, the chairs just all fell over. Oh, you get that? Oh shit!
Fucking, that's. I think like I don't know. That's why I miss the years when we went to ConnectiCon, because those are great years. I know it's changed now, so it's not the same as it was. But
Yeah,
eh.
it's like if you got badges now, if you don't early bird it, you're gonna be paying $75.
Yeah.
And for
The-
you guys in Canada, that's like, oof.
The other one I want to mention is, and this one I wasn't with you guys for these ones, but the years I went to Anime Next, that was when I was in the prime of the abridging stuff I did. There was one year where there was so many of us, it was nuts. Like we had such a huge gathering of people who were doing this, this silly comedy hobby. And I think what year was it? I can't remember if it was 2010, 2011. I can't remember what year it was, but there was like so many of us, and that was an experience I don't think I'll ever see, like that many people that I knew together again. Like there was like, there had to be like at least 40 of us all hanging out and doing stuff. We were in little groups and stuff and whatnot, but like it was so much fun. That's another con that will never be the same again, because they moved locations and they changed things, and I probably won't be ever going to it again, but God, I miss it.
Okay, I just thought of a few more, and I'm going to try and not go at length about all the weird experiences, but I was with this group of people called Random Battle Group, who would travel to conventions and mimic like Final Fantasy style 3-on-3 battles, and then just chaos would ensue. And we were just sitting outside of a hotel, and these two, they had to be like 12 years old, 12-year-old girls walked by, and we couldn't hear all of their conversation. All we heard was just loud and clear as they walked by, the one dressed as Misty from Pokemon going, "It hurts so good." And the look of absolute horror on my friend's face after hearing this. I will see it forever in my nightmares until the day I die.
Oh no. Why?
For crazy stuff, I have this way of fucking with the guests, where I will get in the autograph line and have them sign things that are completely unrelated to anything they've done. Most prominently, Carlos Ferro.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
For years and years, I would have him sign things that he had nothing to do with. I had him sign like a copy of Balloon Fight one time. I had him sign some kind of Atari game. And then there was like a couple-year break because I usually saw him at Kineticon. But he showed up at Youmacon a couple years ago. I was in like a different costume at the time, and he's like, "You know, I don't recognize you. Usually when people come to my autograph signings a couple times, I'll recognize them by their face or their voice or whatever." And then I said, "Oh, well, I don't blame you for not recognizing me. By the way, would you sign my floppy disk for Bill Elliott's NASCAR Challenge?" And there's this awkward pause, and he goes, "I remember you now."
I'm not going to be surprised if Carlos just hates us now. I mean,
I thought of another one. Filming the review things. That once a review, the once a ranger thing, and the thing.
With
Those were
stank-faced black lady off camera.
I wish that was on camera because that was when you were trying to morph, and I didn't see it. But when everyone else described it to me, I just started inherently laughing because I'm just picturing it, but I'll never know what it looked like.
I mean, the production levels weren't great. I think the second time we did it, it was a lot better. But like, because you could hear the wind on the audio and other things. But like, we just had so much fun filming those.
It was so,
and
it was so dumb. Like you were doing a monologue, and the whole time we had to do so many takes because I'm just
You
like
kept
cracking
fucking
up.
At one point, I forced you to straighten up and just cover your mouth.
Yeah, and then like at the end of it, it's like, "Oh, that was good except for Unreal," and then you just come and choke me.
Exactly. And it's, you know what? You know, I knew when I started editing those that this was going to be something special, because I'm like, man, this will never happen again, except for the second time we did it, which wasn't as good. I think the first time was the best time.
Was the second one for
The second one
Tough
was
Enough?
The second one was for Tough Enough. The first
Okay.
one was for and I think the thing that hurt that one is I didn't release that review for a few years after we filmed it. So it
But you
was
still had CJ creepily dubbing over his lines exactly as he said them.
Yeah, exactly. That was, you know, it was we spent a lot of work doing that dubbing because the wind was even worse. And keep in mind, we don't have shotgun mics or anything good like that. And I think the only one of us that does is SCR, and even then, we don't have like these amazing setups. So we were filming these things, and it was windy. So
this is low budget. So
yeah, like there were things where you guys were redubbing your lines like years after the fact. Like Scott, you did your like lines completely different than the way you did them live. So it was interesting when it finally got finished. But
I think I did mine as accurate as possible.
They were fun to make, and I mean, now if we were to do it, like, because I've been thinking about what we should do for the 10th anniversary of the website. If we were to do something, we'd have to kind of plan around it. We wouldn't be able to do it at the end of a convention or something like that. It's just too much work. But we should try to do something. I think it would be interesting.
I remember something from one of the Kineticon conventions. Zeromaster playing James Bond Jr. and skipping.
Oh my god! The glitch!
I still don't know how you did that.
I remember you going, you skipped the helicopter stage!
And you basically had to exit the hotel room temporarily.
Just moments like that. Just like
speedrun strats live.
So you're gonna speedrun James Bond Jr. now that you know that strat?
I don't think he knows the exact details. I do want to add some moments. I mean, outside of your reviewer thing, Zero. By the way, if you notice in the final shot, like I'm just like smiling and nodding my head because that's the only thing I could do to just not burst out laughing. So I'm like the only one with a stupid.
You did the Troy face before the Troy face.
I know. I just realized I did the Troy face. Also, I think the sun didn't help in some instances as well, because I had my glasses off for that whole thing as well. Like I'm not blind without my glasses, but like sometimes I just kind of Troy face it.
Just for the people who haven't seen these, we'll probably leave a link somewhere, but it's my review of Power Rangers Super Legends and my review of Tough Enough that these things were filmed in. Go check them out, they're on my channel. But like if you guys want to see what the hell we're talking about, because I'm sure some people
and these were all filmed during cons, so that's why it's still part of the question. I got some moments, some extra moments outside Duke Nukem on a unicycle. I just want to say, I don't know, the first time SCR showed up in 2009 at Kineticon, it was just me and him. I was just like, what the fuck? The fact that you agreed to come all the way down, which eventually led to the most ambitious crossover since Avengers Infinity War, which was Kineticon 2010. We're never going to have a good con like that ever again in terms of baller ass hotel room. Just oof, that was you can never replicate that. We got unbelievable rooms, like 2 different rooms for good price.
I'm so sad I missed that year because so many people were there.
Oh yeah, this was a big one. I think in recent memory, one of my favorite moments came from it was YomaCon 2016. We've got my regular show Halloween costumes, and the amount of attention I got with both of these costumes during YomaCon was so nice. Like it rivals my first time as Barry and people calling me was like, "Yo, Barry," and I'm like, "Yeah." It was on this level. It felt good.
You just reminded me of 3 things, and I'll cut myself off after these.
Okay.
The first one, this is unrelated, but MidoriCon 2013, the first time I did a Creepypasta panel. And Mr. Creepypasta was in the room for it, and I didn't realize it was him at first because I had no idea what he looked like in real life. And I just called on him to help volunteer read a story, and I realized the moment I heard his voice when he was sitting next to me, oh, this is going to be good. Because it was a story where he was supposed to read lines for this one character, but the only line he had, and he said it a couple of times, was, "Hey everybody, I'm looking at gay porno."
And I know, funny enough, he doesn't talk much in here, but he's part of our, like, chat room.
Yeah, we still chat now and then.
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Second thing, I have this tendency to cosplay either characters from obscure things or secondary characters from popular things. And it doesn't get much more secondary or unpopular than Resident Evil Survivor.
I actually forgot to bring that up because that was one thing
God.
I loved as well. You
The
can
fucking
explain
photo
this one.
shoot when you had to explain who you
So,
were.
I cosplayed as Ark Thompson this one time, and we went to a Resident Evil photo shoot, and they were going through all the different Resident Evil games, and they're like, "Wait, what about Survivor?" And there's one guy goes, "It's Ark Thompson!"
No, I remember it was the Carlos cosplayer, and he's like, "Wait, are you Ark Thompson?" You said yes, and then he started laughing.
You need to bring that back, but they need to do another Resident Evil photo shoot.
Oh man. Well, if we all agree to bring Resident Evil, like I haven't worn Barry for some time.
If you guys did the Resident Evil group again, and Scott's just Ark Thompson.
Hey, hey, if you ever go to San Japan with us, me and Angel are considering doing Resident Evil, so bring Ark Thompson.
I might as well mention craziest and most memorable things I've seen at a con. A&G, I did the wrestling like most every year, so just all of that in general. But the one thing you, Unreal, reminded me of is our boy from YomaCon. Every time we walk between the buildings... I
can't believe I forgot this! Oh my god, no, this has to go in. This is legendary.
There's this dude who peddles his psychedelic rap CDs named Shadow Clan. And like almost every year we run into this guy. He used to be inside the Renaissance Center, and I think they told him to leave because we've seen him outside every year since. But he always walks up and goes like, "Man, you into Star Wars? You into Star Trek?"
Star Trek, specifically Star Trek.
And then he just starts talking about that and goes, "Man, I got these CDs." And I remember one year this happened, Unreal was with us, and he was in, I think it was the Rigby costume.
Well, okay, let's do an origin story. 2011 was the first time I went to Youmacon. Shadow Clan showed up in the Ren Center. It was me, you, and Blondie. We were just kind of like caught off guard, and we did like scrounge up some change and decided to get the CD. And then I don't know if I think you ran into him other years.
Yes, I did.
But then 2016, I was in the Rigby costume, like you said, and it was outside. And then I'm just like, okay, for reference, like it's full costume, so my face is hidden with this weird wide-eyed thing, like the wide-eye Rigby face. And I just hearing the words, "Oh, you like Star Trek?" I just froze because I'm like, no way. Like internally, like my face lit up and I was cracking up in my helmet, like you couldn't see it. So I'm just like, oh man, both Scott and Blondie had to take the brunt of it because they weren't in costume. And I was. I'm just like silently giggling, and he dropped some rhymes at us this time too. I don't think he did the other times, but this one he dropped rhymes at us. So keep going.
Did you guys film his rhymes?
No.
God damn it.
Oh my god.
We have his rhymes. We have a few of his CDs.
Oh my god. Fucking Shadow. I need that shit.
But yeah, on my point of view, Unreal, it looked like you were just frozen. Like, I could not tell you were laughing at all.
I wasn't audibly laughing, but I was just like grinning so much. I was just like, the year I come back, Shadow Clan resurrects.
Okay, if he's there this year, we gotta go, Shadow Clan!
No, don't make it obvious, but man, oh god.
And then I played the CD the whole way back home.
Oh god, and I was like, because of the ride, and like, of course we were tired, just like, alright, I have my own iPod in. Like, I think I knew you were playing it during the ride back. I'm like, all right, we're going to put music and fall asleep. And then I wake up and it's still playing. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I didn't know how long the CD was. I fall back asleep, wake up again, and the first track is playing again. I'm like, you're not looping this, are you? Like,
I had to. It was a long drive.
Yeah, and it was, what, 3 tracks total?
I think it was 5.
5? No, there was... Oh god, I have the zip file, I'd have to check. But anyways, oh, okay, there was one quick one I wanted to add. I don't know if it was Youmacon, it might have been. It was not Shadow Clan related. Oh, can you at least explain the best track on that recent Shadow Clan CD? The best lyric?
Actually, I have 2 in my mind that it might be. The first one is Celestial Bullshit.
It's actually Celestial Hood Ship, but the whole drive back, because of how it was sounding, I'm like, why am I hearing Celestial bullshit over and over?
And the other best lyric is
Oh my god, so good.
Oh, there's another Youmacon one I just remembered. That time we ran into Scott McNeil.
Oh yeah.
And he did that video with Blondie where he did like the 4 characters he voiced in fucking like in Beast Wars. Yeah.
So weird thing about that, I was part of a WWE cosplay group that year, and one person came up to us and said, "There's a Shawn Michaels cosplayer in like the main area," and we went out there. It was just Scott McNeil dressed in his usual clothes.
It looks a lot like Shawn Michaels.
Oh my god. Oh.
Okay, for real this time. Last one, and I'm cutting it off. Same convention that I met the Resident Evil cosplay group. We started doing a photo shoot out in this opening area around where the swimming pool was. But it was still close to winter, so the pool was closed off. But it was dark, so I couldn't see anything. And at one point, I just pretend I'm running away from the group, because that's what Brad does, and I feel the ground give out from underneath me. And I kind of do like this rolling tumble forward. I can't tell what I'm on, but it feels like a trampoline. And I stand up, and I realize I am standing at the other end of the pool. When I took off and ran, I ran over this rubber covering that they put over the pool, and somehow made it all the way across.
What?
Huh?
I don't know.
Holy fuck. Oh my god. Yeah, we have so much. We could go on forever. In fact, the one I wanted to mention, I can't remember what it was, but I thought of something else. And that was just meeting Phil Lamar. That was nice.
Oh yeah, that's noteworthy in itself.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I've said much really on my end.
So he still has one more question.
Oh.
What's your favorite moment in all of wrestling, if there is one for you? Now...
Alright, this does not pertain to me. I mean, I don't know, Shockmaster.
Should we call Oni?
How funny it is.
Yeah, Shockmaster debut is the most hilarious debut ever. Or the Sin Cara botch debut. Or my most recent favorite, the Titus O'Neil botch from the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Oh my god.
That was fucking...
Even I know that one, because I randomly clicked on a Botchamania video and it just said Titus. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's just some dude that just like trips and slides under the ring.
Oh my god, it was awesome.
So I have two I'm going to mention. One's very general. It's just anytime the WWE eats a bag of shit, like when they let a talent go and they become wildly popular somewhere else.
Oh yeah, good example, Cody.
Or Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I hear that WWE's trying to like keep other talent even though they are not using them properly. So it's like, well, we don't want them to be successful anywhere else. So we'll just keep them.
Oh, I know what it is. And Zero, this might be your moment too. It was when Zero and I went to a Ring of Honor New Japan show in Toronto. The first time we saw the intro video for Cheeseburger.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that. Fucking Cheeseburger. God damn it. God damn it. His Titantron is the best. It's just fucking him in front of cheeseburgers.
I like the fact that his ring name is Cheeseburger.
I mean, this wasn't a debut, but the moment we got photobombed was pretty sick too by Liger.
Oh yeah, Jushin Thunder Liger photobombed us.
That was amazing.
Every NXT TakeOver match, not gonna go into detail of them, but just watch those.
Yeah, that's a lot of ground to cover. Well, if anyone else out there has questions that they want us to answer on the podcast, feel free to message us in the YouTube comment section, the site upload, or on our Facebook, facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. You can also leave a comment on
Shout Engine.
and we will answer it from there.
Oh, Shout Engine is my favorite website.
Audio Jungle.
But for now, we go into what's new. So, what videos or projects are you working on? Zero.
I'm in the process of editing my next Quick Hunts video. Sorry it's taking a long time. I got sick last week, and then I had a massive migraine yesterday, so I've been just great, for getting stuff out. My Megaman 8 review is taking a lot longer than expected, mostly because of the end section of the game, but hopefully that will be coming soon. And I have 2 more videos that I'm working on as well coming out in terms of reviews, so those should be coming soon. And then hopefully my EGLX and Anime North videos will come soon too, but I gotta put all my focus on the reviews first, so those will be coming out first. And, just regular stuff, podcasts, Let's Plays, all that fun stuff. So that's it for me.
And Shadow.
Got really nothing, so I guess if I had to talk about what things I'd like to work on, I'll just work on another Gundam master created that kit eventually. It's called the Bloodstained Gundam, based on one of my favorite Gundam anime, so I'll just work on that. I guess since I shed on New Gundam Breaker, this could lead to a potential review of it.
Maybe?
Because it's either I keep this game and review it, or just review it or just trade it in and just get more money for the Steam Summer Sale. But at this point, I might as well just choose option B. And out of that, moving on.
Alright, Unreal?
I'm already a month late with getting the Anime North con video out. But I will say, majority of the stuff from my old room has been moved over. So I'm basically now in my new room/workspace now. It's not 100% done, but it's done enough where I can actually do work here and stuff comfortably. I've got no other plans outside of that, at least compared to like what I mentioned previous podcasts. So like collab review still needs to be done. I feel like there was a third thing I mentioned outside of con video that I was going to work on, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. And this, I'm not going to make any promises, but since I have an NES Classic now, I might do a plug and play on it. It's weird because like I got the second Classic system before the first one, because the NES one's a restock, but I'm just trying to think, like, is it worth doing a plug and play on? Because it's technically, 2 years old at this point, and it is a reprint through and through. So it doesn't have a rewind feature. The cord length is still really low, and it only still comes with one controller. But I don't know, maybe I could just do it to get some content out and maybe address that if people, for some reason, were expecting the reprints to fix stuff. I don't know. It's just potential that I could do, because I did say in my SNES Classic video, like, I might do it if I get one. So no promises there, but I do have to put that con video out. And since the move's done, I can start doing that as long as I have free time outside of work. So I honestly think that right now is it for me.
Alright, and that just leaves me. So, I'm still working my way through Evermore. Not sure when exactly I'm going to be able to get that done. Started recording the Lexibook games. And I have a Strung the Baseline I'm trying to do. I wanted to get it done for last week's update, but it may just have to be for this one. It's somewhat patriotic, so I was hoping to get it out before July 4th, but that's not going to happen. But in the meantime, we gotta finish that Shaq Fu run. And speaking of which, I actually have started speedrunning that game, and somehow getting decent times for it. Although, I'm expecting the speedrun.com standings to change because more people are still submitting their times. But I think video-wise that's it for me, which means we are at the end of the podcast. So once again, I'm SCXCR.
I am Unreal.
I'm ShadowSnake.
And I'm Zeromaster.
And I'm Shadow Clan.